That is all about terrorism. Speaking of which, listen, a couple weeks ago I was mentioning, we were talking about farm subsidies, and I said something I've said for many years, which is that the biggest welfare queens are farmers. I don't think they even use that term, welfare queens, anymore, do they? But I've always liked it. Anyway, I don't usually give people a rebuttal, but I think these guys have a point. John Hanson is the secretary of the National Farmers Union, and his rock star friend, who obviously cares a great deal about that issue, is John Mellencamp. They are going to join us now by satellite. Gentlemen, are you there in farmlands? How are you? John, you don't look like you're very happy with me.
I'm thrilled to death with you.
No, I meant the other John, but that's okay. I think we actually probably agree more than we disagree. When I said farmers, welfare queens, I was thinking of the big agribusinesses. I was thinking of Archer Daniels Midland, and you were thinking of the small farmer. And I think what we agree on, now that I've investigated this a little more, is that the small farmer is also a victim of agricultural subsidies. And just tell the folks a little about that.
Well, you know, of all the money that's appropriated, 70% of the money ends up in 10% of the farmers, and of course that's the big factory farms. And I think the people who hear you say things like that just assume that, well, oh, the guy next door, or you know, the family farmer is. What are they complaining about? Why is there farm aid? Why are we still beating this horse? And that it's hard to understand, and that information I think needs to be clarified.
Why is it that it's a tragedy if small farms go away? Now, in a small town, we used to have, or any town, we used to have the regular mom and pop hardware store, and now we have Walmart. Walmart is the equivalent.
Well, isn't that the tragedy right there?
Yeah, but we don't stop Walmart from doing it. We don't stay the indifferent.
That's the problem. The American public doesn't seem to mind. You know, I mean, and that's frightening to me. Is that we don't mind supporting these tremendously huge corporations that, you know, really, you know, as we all know,
because it makes products cheaper for people. They want Walmart because when they go in to buy an Allen wrench, it's cheaper than when they bought it from mom and pop, and you can't blame them for that, can you?
Well, I suppose not, if you don't mind eating food that has all kind of chemicals all over it. It's why we're the fattest nation in the world. I mean, that's part of it.
But that's a different issue.
No, it's the same issue.
Right, and it really goes to the heart of who are we going to have produce our food and fiber in this country, and which kind of food production system is the one that does the best job of taking care of the earth, the soil and the water, the one that produces the food in the most safe fashion, the one that's most consistent with our values as a democracy and is consistent with our American history and tradition, and the one that ties us to the land and does the best job for producing in our economy in a socially and environmentally and economically beneficial way. And the American people keep saying over and over again, we support family farmers and ranchers, and yet because big business has been allowed to take over farm and trade policy, the direction that we're headed is toward a system that looks like the corporate version of the failed Soviet model, and that's not the system that America wants.
To be honest, that's what people say. People say a lot of things in polls, but what they really care about is getting cheese in all their food. What they really care about, there's a new thing, have you seen this, called cheeseburger fries, where they have actually melded the cheeseburger and the fry into one horrible food product? They have. I'm not kidding about that.
Right, but in the case of a lot of things, you know, the American government isn't giving the American people the kind of government and the kinds of things that they want, and that's because big business and money continues to run the show.
Well, I agree.
And they run the show in farm policy and trade policy. So we not only have a tax policy for the rich, we have a farm and a trade policy for the rich. And it helps the rich get richer faster.
So what can people who pretend to care pretend to do?
We can get informed, we can get involved, and we can elect folks to Congress and to public office that represent our values and our interests, and we can start getting involved and start asking some hard questions about folks that are running public policy in this country who don't seem to have a clue.
I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you for being with us, you guys. Good luck with your cause. It's a worthy one. Okay.
Thank you.
Have anything to add to that?
Well, I think
I've seen you eat.
the point,
You don't care about what's good for you.
Actually, believe it or not, I totally agree with what they're saying. I think we are so confused in this country. Big business runs everything. The big business run politics. They run this entire world. And we're down here at the bottom fighting for the scraps. Instead of banding together, we fight each other all the time.
Right.
And he's right. Big business runs everything.
That's what the issue should be. I was watching the debate the other night, and I think it was the Green candidate here in California.
Yeah.
Cameo.